Oh my god, no intro. What's up, guys? Chun is back. Got the round 3 match of the Smogon Tour 12 fourth generation tournament that they were having. This is against Fried Rhys. So you guys will be in for a real treat. And yeah, this is my wallpaper, just how I'm feeling for this month anyway, until I change it. But anyway, guys, not gonna dabble on too much. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. Alright, I'm gonna start off with Exca as usual, and he's gonna lead with a Zapdos. So I immediately know it's either choice Scarf or choice Specs. So I'm just gonna set a Stealth Rock since Zapdos can't prevent it, and he goes into Flygon as a U-turns out. So I don't know what choice item he's carrying yet. I know another U-turn is coming, so I decide to U-turn myself. And with me having the slower U-turn, I would get switch initiative, and he goes back to Zapdos. And I decide to go to Heatran to fake a specially defensive set. And here it is, the moment of truth. Is he gonna stay in or switch? He stays in, and oh my god, he does 75% with Thunderbolt, so he is Specs. I do finish it off with the Life Orb Fire Blast, but Heatran is severely crippled. I really didn't have much else to take a Thunderbolt aside from double switching to Quagsire, but I keep Heatran in and fodder it out as he goes to Rotom-w. And I go to Quagsire, figuring he'd switch because I thought he might have been he's Life Orb actually, so I go for Toxic. He shows the sub though and blocks it, so I thought it might be substitute Charge Beam, but he goes for I lock him into Shadow Ball, so I just go to Scizor to take it, and I decide to lock into Pursuit. I think I really just wanted to break the sub here, and I was fixed on him staying in. I really didn't have anything else to switch into Shadow Ball either, so I go to Quagsire as he goes into Tentacruel, expecting Toxic Spikes since Quag is the only team member affected by it, but he Rapid Spins, most likely predicting my switch. I decide to recover here, thinking he would switch out fearing Earthquake, but he calls the bluff and sets up a layer of Toxic Spikes in my face. So I now decide to go for Earthquake, which was way too obvious since he has no reason to get greedy and set up a second layer, and he just goes back to Rotom-w. And thinking he'd sub again, I went for Encore, figuring even if he doesn't sub, locking him into anything else would be just as crippling, except he reveals Pain Split. So he's actually a sub-split Rotom. I don't quite know what to do from here. I end up just recovering again to scout his next move, but he just uses that to go back to Tentacruel for free, and he decides to double switch back to Rotom-w as I Encore again, predicting him to go to something else. So I'm definitely getting outplayed here, and he's scouting my set out to maybe try to form a plan later on. So he goes back to Tentacruel as I Encore again, predicting him to sub, but he knows the deal by now. So I finally switch to Exca, predicting him to go back to Rotom-w so I can try to get him into Shadow Ball to trap it with Scizor, since I plan on spamming Psychic. He stays and lays down the second layer of Toxic Spikes, goes for the Sludge Bomb as I set up rocks again. He Rapid Spins again, so I Thunder Wave to cripple Tentacruel. He gets out, goes back to Rotom-w, and I set up the Stealth Rock again, and he decides to sub to scout what I'm gonna do. But I stick to the plan. I'm just going to spam Psychic and fodder Exca out, and then bring Scizor in to Pursuit Trap it. Because he is Scarf though, it's not quite strong enough to take it out, and he finishes me with a Thunderbolt, and it's a double down situation. He goes into Hippowdon on the blind switch. I show Dragonite. I go right for Draco Meteor since this team kind of struggles with Hippowdon. It's not on a timer, so this is where max speed Dragonite fails, because Draco Meteor doesn't hit nearly as hard as the standard Mixed Knight. So I go for a second one, hope for the 2-hit KO. I don't get it. He lives at 5% and slacks off the damage. So he's definitely specially defensive. I need to get Hippowdon on a timer if I hope to win this game. So decide to step my game up a little bit. And I switch back to Quagsire as he slacks off again. Threatening Toxic, I predict to switch to Tentacruel, and I go right for the Earthquake, and I nail it for the 2-hit KO. I then decide to predict his switch back to Hippowdon and go for Toxic, but he doesn't take the bait. He just Rapid Spins my rocks away again. But knowing Toxic damage is racking up, I'm going to decide to just recover here and then get out before I take too much damage. And with him showing Sludge Bomb here, it does prompt me to go to Jirachi, which is exactly what I'm going to do, since Toxic is racking up, as I stated. So after Sludge Bombing again, he's going to go to Hippowdon to threaten an Earthquake, but I'm going to decide to Wish up first. The plan here is to try to get Hippowdon to around 50% and Wish every other turn, since it does about half to Jirachi with Earthquake. And as long as I can get 2 Psychics off, Jirachi has done its job, in my opinion. So I did this knowing he could very well roar me around if he predicts me to switch as well, but with the hazards he's got already, I really can't afford to switch around at this point and get phased out of a win. So this is exactly what happens. He opts the Earthquake twice, and he's finally going to roar me out into Dragonite, which is perfect as I negate the Stealth Rock damage with Wish. He's at 55%, so I'm going to go for Draco Meteor. But he can't really afford for Hippo to be KO'd, as he's seen how much trouble I'm having with it, and goes to Tentacruel to fodder it. And I could have gone for Superpower, but if he stayed in, he'd just slack off, and I'd have to start over again, and he'd be out of killing range. So, but unfortunately, this means he can just bring Hippo back out again, since I'm at -2. And I start getting pretty frustrated at this point, since none of my sequences or combinations are working, and I just can't seem to KO this thing. And I'm wishing I still had Heat Train at this point to at least threaten it. And I just start spamming Fire Blast, hoping for a burn. I do get a crit as I'm throwing Fire Blast around, which I didn't really want, since he would just slack off the damage. But as far as the burn, it's going to be no dice for me. So eventually the Life Orb recoil is going to rack up, and I'm going to have to Roost to get the health back from both that and the sand damage that Dragonite's taking. So I try to switch to Quagsire to catch Hippo on a wrong move, but he just roars me into Jirachi. And I decide to try the same thing one more time, although I switch up a bit. I'm going to Wish again, barely surviving the Earthquake. Then I go to Dragonite directly instead, predicting him to Earthquake again, which he does. And I get it back in at near full health thanks to Wish. Actually, he is at full health. So I'm going to try for a burn again with Fire Blast, but I missed that one. And he's going to continue to slack off the damage to eliminate the critical hit hacks. So I land the second one, but I don't get a burn, unfortunately. And I'm going to Roost to try and preserve PP as well and heal the recoil damage and the sand damage. He's going to roar me out on the Roost once again, and I think he's caught on to my pattern by now. Quagsire just gets dragged back in, and this time I just decide to keep Quagsire in and sack it to get a Toxic on Hippo. I do manage to land it, although I pay for it with Earthquake, and Quagsire's pretty much a goner at this point. So I'm going to go back to Dragonite, and I'm going to drop a Draco Meteor on it, probably thinking it'd switch out. But he's actually not going to switch out, though. At this point, he's just going to leave Hippowdon in, and he's going to roar me out back to Quagsire. We both heal, but I know I've got the advantage when it comes to this, at least, although I'm in a really tough spot at this point. With the hazards that he's got down and the damage all my guys have taken. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to recover one more time, and then I'm going to go back to Dragonite to let the poison from Toxic finally rack up. And I'm finally going to knock this Hippowdon out after so many turns of struggling with it and trying to take it down and all the different switching and different combinations. I finally get rid of it, only to have Flygon come back in and just lock in the Outrage for the win, who I completely forgot about on turn 2. And my guys have taken so much damage. It's the perfect situation. Scarf Flygon's just going to pick everything off. It's not going to be able to live anything. And none of my guys are, so that's what his plan was. He just had to let Hippo die and Flygon would clean up, which probably was the plan all along. But anyway, it's a great game, Fried Rhys. Hope to play you again sometime. And I'm going to do a question of the day, guys. What do you like with your Fried Rhys? you like shrimp fried rice, chicken fried rice? I'll go ahead and answer. I like chicken, but I also like steak. Those little steaklets that they put in there is really good. And I'm not even big on Chinese food or Japanese food, but that's usually what I get if I eat that type of food. So anyway, tell me what you guys think. I'll probably have some other matches in between before starting up the matches for this Smogon Tour that just ended, Smogon Tour 13. I may have one or two random matches just to break things up. But anyway, that's going to be it for now, guys. And until next episode, I'm out. Peace.